hit our house. A violent crash, and then silence. I wish to share with you a mystery from when I was a boy, which has never been solved. This actually took place in 1966, I believe it was. And I do remember it was summer and quite late, as it was very dark outside. As was often the case, my family, minus my oldest brother, were all gathered in the living room watching television. Mom had bought Dad an orange and white recliner to relax in, as his work days were very long and very hard. Our house was fairly large, with 2 bedrooms off the living room, and I might add those 2 rooms were had been add-ons, and their roof was peaked in a different direction from the peak of the main house. And then there were 2 bedrooms in the back of the house. And as we sat there, there suddenly came a loud crash that shook the house. And it sounded like something had crashed into that peak above those bedrooms. Startled, we all jumped up. "Something crashed into the house," Mom said loudly and nervously. Dad grabbed a flashlight and was ready to go out to investigate. Mom, like the rest of us, was scared, and she begged Dad not to go out there, as did us kids. But none of us spoke it at the time. But at that very time, Michigan was going through an intense wave of UFO sightings. Could it possibly have been one of those? I'm sure was in all of our minds. Dad was pretty brave, though. He had went through World War II in the front lines in Italy, and after what he experienced there, nothing really seemed to ever scare my dad. So he ignored all of us, all of our pleading for him to wait and investigate in the morning when it would be light out. He turned on the flashlight and went out to see what had crashed into the peak of the roof, for we were pretty certain that something indeed had. And he wasn't out there a real long time, but it sure seemed like it. And he walked back in, and as we looked to him waiting anxiously, he just shrugged his shoulders. "Nothing out there," Dad said, adding, "There's not a sign of anything." I've often wondered if he had just said that so as to calm our fears at the time. And I remember after going to bed, hearing subdued tones of Dad and Mom in their room, and I always felt they were discussing the loud crash and the UFOs that were being seen nightly in Lower Michigan at that time. You know how you always feel much more brave when the sun is out and shining brightly? Well, that's not how I felt the next day, but I still went outside to take a look myself, and I couldn't see either where something might have struck the house. It was never resolved, and if Dad did see something that night when he went out, I never heard about it. I have heard of other people having similar experiences, though, with no answers either. So, what say you? Any ideas as to what we experienced that night at 4233 Shreve Drive in Bridgeport, Michigan? If you have any ideas, please post them in the comment sections, as I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Thanks for stopping by. God bless, and have a great evening.